Yo, Laurent.
Yo,
Yeah, I've been
yo.
waiting to ask you this. I've been waiting to ask you this. You know how Chelsea's blue, and I'm wearing blue repping the Toronto Blue Jays. Game
Mm-hmm.
seven, they're winning tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But you know Chelsea wears blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But recently they've had a fascination with the color red. It's almost like they're begging for Arsenal to come and buy them and, bring them to the red side, the smart side of
Mm-hmm.
London. You have anything to say for yourself? That's what, like five, six games in a row with a red card? Like, what do you, what say you, Mr. Chelsea? Mr. DDA?
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I think you're onto something, man. Shit, they might as well do what they're doing in the Congo with the Man U kids, right? Force us to like switch colors or something because this is completely getting out of hand, man. I'm almost starting to think like either on some like Tony what was it Tony Ivans or whoever it was, like some players are have like these bets going on the
Oh,
side where
Amy?
Ivan Tony, right? Or whoever that, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like where they're trying to like purposely get carded because this does not make any sense, man.
That
You know,
was
we're
the dumbest tackle by Malagusto. I'm assuming you saw it.
yeah, 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 yeah. And as soon as we saw it, I think everyone knew, hence it. The only difference is, or in this case, right, was that we were up.
Yeah.
So, we're thinking, okay, we pretty much have the game secured. But other than that, no, this is not something we want to see, man. But
And the
mhm.
thing is, you remember a few years ago when Arsenal had the same issues? I know CJ recalls this. Every time Granit Xhaka used to go into a tackle, right?
Mm,
Like, and then that Martinelli double yellow for the throw in infraction at Wolves. Like, but the discussion around Chelsea, there's nothing being said right now. It's just like they're just brushing it under the rug.
also, but because are you trying to say that because yours were undeserved, whereas I feel that ours were deserved?
No, 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 no. I'm not. No, 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 no. Sorry. Let me rephrase what I was trying to imply. Not even that. Not even that the deserved, undeserved, but the
Mm.
discussion around the teams, like Arsenal was like deemed that, oh, they have a disciplinary issue. They need to focus.
Oh, okay, okay.
As far as when Chelsea, they're like, they just need to clean up a couple things. Where as an Arsenal fan, I don't know, CJ, if you agree with me on this, but it's almost like when Arsenal does something, it's glorified, it's amplified to the fullest. But when another team does it, like for example, Arne Slot, this the pre-match presser, he said that Arsenal scored 60% of their goals from free kicks. True, that's facts. That's an actual fact. But in the context of what he was saying, it was almost like he was complaining about the fact that Arsenal are good at set pieces. But now last season, Arteta complained about the ball, right? A lot
Hmm.
of players have come out this year and said the ball flies differently. But because Arteta talked about it being a representative of Arsenal, being the manager, it got blown out of proportion. But then when Arne Slot says something like this, or Maresca talks about the red cards, nothing comes of it. So like, I don't know. What I'm trying to get at is I feel like the British media has a vendetta against Arsenal, and it's very clear to see. I don't know, CJ, if you agree with me on this. Um, but I feel like when Arsenal does something, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
No, I see what you're saying, and I mean, in regards to that, the only thing I can truly add is that such is the burden of being a rich club with a rich history, right? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if anything, they're just trying to hold you to account, right? To make sure that you guys, have such uh, the golden season, everything, right? To support you guys being top dog. So it's like, number one always gets scrutinized, right? As they say.
All right,
So
we're gonna clip that, CJ. It's from minute 3 minutes to 5 seconds. We're gonna clip that and just post that. That's it. That's all we're posting.
right, yeah. Yeah, no, but honestly though, like yeah, it's an interesting take. It's an interesting take. Because yeah, I kind of have noticed that the other clubs don't get as much
Scrutiny.
media coverage, scrutiny, right, in regards to these kind of situations. So, uh,
Yo, CJ, you're awfully quiet. You're not mean mugging. You're smiling. You look like you got a manicure and a pedicure. You got a fresh cut. You got a lineup. Like, is this what the top of the table does?
Hey man, I'm just just enjoying the moment, being present.
Look at
Because
those veneers, bro. Look at those veneers.
geez.
jeez, I mean, like Bobby Firmino, bro. Yeah.
Actually, you guys notice a little difference in the pearly whites?
Yeah, bro. You got veneers like Gabriel Magalhaes.
That's interesting, bro. It must be the new toothpaste whitener I'm using. Shout out to my fiance for that one. I didn't think it would actually work, but shit.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, bro. I must be feeling myself at the moment, Mehrdad. It's that top of the table energy. You know,
Look at that. Yo, this guy
um,
came in with a grin and everything. This is weird from Mr. Stronger. This is
Mr. Stronger. Yeah, man. It's we're in a good moment. And I think if we are segueing and transitioning into sort of the Arsenal spotlight, the game on the weekend, yeah, I am in a good mood. And as I was saying to you offline, for some reason on Saturday evening, right after the game, after the result, I was a little bit upset. I wanted to vent some things out. Like I almost could have done a podcast that night, right? Just venting some of the immediate post game reactions. But as the weekend's gone on and as you see the rest of the results, um, you're in a bit of a better mood because at the end of the day, on a Sunday where both our big rivals, Spurs and Liverpool lose, it's always a great day. It's not Spurs for any particular reason, not like they're in a title race or anything, but as Arsenal fans, we just love to always see Spurs lose. But yeah, in terms of the result for the Liverpool United game, which we'll touch on a little bit later on, yeah, that kind of shed a little bit of light at the end of the weekend for me because considering we're now what, four clear of them. That's huge. That's huge at this moment in time for us to be four clear of them. A team that I still held and do hold as the title favorites, right? And most would have at the beginning of the season, considering the money spent, so on and so forth. To be four clear at this stage is great for us. And let's be fair, it could be more. It could have been more, because the early results that they were getting, these four L's in a row that they've took and they've been taking, sorry, are a result of the performances they've been having, even when they were winning games, right? They didn't look convincing. And so why I want to discuss it and talk about it now, right? I'm looking at it both ways. I'm looking at it as I'm happy, right? Um, 4 points clear at the moment, things are looking good. It's a results based business, but the eye test is important, as we've discussed before. When it comes to individual players, it's also important to talk about eye test when it comes to the team. And as I said, Liverpool have, they've been winning games in the first five games, and they won all their games. But if anybody watched those games, they didn't look convincing, and that's reflecting in their results now. So bringing that into an Arsenal perspective, let's have an open-ended discussion about this. How do you feel, or how do you guys feel, based on Arsenal and our performances at the moment? Because some would say, if I'm looking at this objectively, some would
Mm.
say we haven't been playing great either the last couple of games. We're getting the results, right? But I personally, if I'm being overly critical of my team, which you guys know I am, I would like to see performances to go along with results. Because
Mm.
glass half full opposition fan would say to us, "Oh, it's only a matter of time before you guys, your luck, quote unquote, or your performances start reflecting into the results in the sense that we're dropping points, we're having more stalemates in terms of 0-0 or 1-1 results or games where we're dropping points because we're living pretty dangerously at the moment, right? In the way we're playing, to be honest with you." And yes, the set piece thing, you're going to start seeing a lot more people come out in the media being critical of our set pieces and the obviously, look, in football, there's a reason why set pieces exist, right? You can score from any situation, right, within legal limits of the game, right? PKs, open play, corner kicks. These are all part of the game of football, and we should not be criticized for our ability to maximize our strengths on set pieces. You know what I mean? Like if other teams can't score from or they're not as efficient from us on set pieces, that's not our fault. That's for them to work on in the training ground, right? Or if they want to, you know, sort of copy our training ground routines or our corner kick routines, go by all means, go ahead, right? But there's nothing illegal about what we're doing. So yes, you can poo-poo it or shoot us down for only scoring on set pieces, but we are scoring from them. That's the glass half full. That I'll say. right? And it's getting us results. The glass half empty is, like I said, what happens if those dry up, or what happens in a game where the set pieces aren't effective for us because we do not look very convincing from open play at this moment in time. I will say. And so my question to you guys is, I want to talk about our attackers first and foremost. Gyökeres, Eze specifically, right? I'm looking at those two because those are, our two most exciting signings of the summer. Those were our two guys that were expected to come in and sort of take our game to the next level and make us look more fluent in attack. So far, we haven't seen the best of them. I've been pretty underwhelmed by the both of them, to be fair. So is it a matter of, do we need to give them time? And this is whoever wants to answer this first. I need to hear both of you guys' take. Do we need to give them more time? Obviously, because we are only less than 10 games into the Premier League season. But with big money signings, right, comes pressure to kind of hit the ground running. It's an unforgiving sport. So especially in Eze's case, right, he's been in the Premier League, but he is also in a new system. So what are we saying with these two players? I want to start with Gyökeres and Eze. Like, are you guys concerned, or from an Arsenal perspective, Laurent, if you're looking at it from our perspective, are you concerned? What are you seeing from them? Do you think things can and will improve, or because for me, I am a little bit frustrated with the both of them, and then particularly Gyökeres, and maybe I'm just being harsh. I don't know, but I'd love to hear your guys' take.
Do you want to go first, Mehrdad?
No, no, let's get a different lens because enough for me. I want to hear your lens on this as a new.
Okay. So I mean, on the first player there, right, Gyökeres. If I'm analyzing this through an Arsenal lens, there is cause for concern for me, and I know this is one of the things that has been repeated even during the game. I'm sure you guys have caught that, but Arteta likes what he's doing, right?
Hmm.
He knows he's been off to a slow start, but he appreciates his effort, right? His work rate, and he still thinks he has room, right, to come into life. Uh, but for me, despite the fact that you're coming for a different league, especially with the hype that comes with that kind of player, right? So now, right off the bat, you're a different caliber of player, right? You're not just some striker, right?
Hmm.
I forgot what the stats were in the Portuguese league, but high scoring rate for him. Over I think 1.5 or something like that, or
Mhm.
goals per match, and to now being almost nearly absent on a game by game basis, right? I know this was also the cause for concern with Holland, if you guys remember at some point when he first came about under the Pep system, right? Things like he'd only get one or two touches in the first half, right? He's not doing much. He's not as productive. Um, but I do feel like in his case, um, it is not a good look simply because one, the set piece scenario, right? And when people are criticizing it, I don't think it's just they're criticizing it in a vacuum. It's more so, well, you guys are only getting your goals, or the majority of your goals are coming from set pieces. It's different if, yeah, you're scoring set piece goals and you're also getting those open play goals, right, to complement. But if they're only coming from set piece, right, that is concerning, right? That has to be concerning. For one, because open play is that's the majority of the game, right? You know what I mean? Like it's not majority of the game set pieces, right? Then again, the chances of you getting set pieces, right? Um, in a game, favorable set pieces, right? Whether it's a free kick, right? In a spot on the field that is likely to convert into a goal, isn't high as well, right? So, um, and for me as well, like with the Eze scenario, it's well now as a whole, it's like the attack is disjointed, right?
Mhm.
So it's almost like we brought in these pieces to complement the attack, actually to bolster the attack, but for whatever reason, we're not even getting that output that we're looking to get, and it's almost weirdly enough, it's looking like the same Arsenal from last season, in certain instances. And that's where I feel
Hmm.
there is cause for concern. And moving on from that, Yes, right. Obviously, the results this week were favorable.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, and again, right, that game too with the Liverpool late, they took a late lead, right, right after they managed to equalize. So it's like there's only so much that you can rely on externally as well. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where I always believe that when you're looking to win, you have to do the most for yourself first before you start to depend on others for those results, right? Um, because especially if things go down to the wire, right, in a season, sometimes, right, you might not always get lucky like that, right? So you have to do as a team, right, the most day in, day out. And if you now like extrapolate, right, to the rest of the season, can Arsenal win a league with these kind of performances? You see what I'm saying? That's what the question becomes, right? Where there's going to be games where you have to take those games by the strap of the neck, right?
Mhm.
And these are the kind of performances that simply do not allow for that, right? Because it's passive. It's not looking to be on the front foot, right? You're looking to, yeah, you're getting the possession, right? The possession stats, right? Like, you're dominating in those areas. But apart from, creating clinical chances, um, and even I'd say like even taking a more so a psychological approach to your dominance. Whereas if you kind of see what Man U did, Liverpool score, right? Right after, the answer was not to sit on the defensive. It was to initially, right, launch an attack and neutralize whatever could come about from Liverpool having equalized, right? So you realize too that sometimes the game of football doesn't ask simply for control of possession, right? You have to take the gamble, right? Because if you take the gamble, if you put enough pressure, you can also, right, change the course of a match, change the course of the momentum, right? And as we all know, right, that it's the constant back and forth with the game, right? The one team's on the attack for a bit, the other team, right? So the pendulum swings constantly, and sometimes control of possession isn't what allows you to control a game or to dictate a game like that, right? Because we've also seen games that are right decided on a goal scored against the run of play, right? So yes, you've been controlling the game for X amount of time, but you didn't allow yourself to even dominate on that end, right? Like and now you're allowing the team to come back into the game, right? So that's what I feel with Arsenal playing this way. It's you're inviting teams to to come back in. Fulham had their chances
Yeah.
in that game, right? And to me, right, it looked like a nil-nil game, despite you guys, yes, obviously
Mm-hmm.
getting the victory. It looked like a nil-nil game, right? So it's games like this where it could easily have been 1-1, right? And now you're off 2 points. So I would definitely say, right, cause for concern. And it is, we spend that much money to get these players. I do not want to see an attack that resembles anything that we had last year if I'm an Arsenal
Mm-hmm.
fan, right? It makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and the other thing too is, well, do you think it's a system,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's really like, right? I would really want to know, like, do you think that the issues now with the forwards, right, is simply because Arteta's style of play is what is not allowing them to play the type of football that fans would like to see, right? So, yeah, I think I'll end it off on that note.
I think for me, just playing devil's advocate, I think I want to see a run of games with the same starting lineup or the same core before I make a judgment. Because I'm looking at Opta sports and lose like the zone of control, and Arsenal's pretty much dominating everything in the middle of the park.
Mm,
From the opposition half line right in the middle of the park all the way to the goalkeeper. We're dominating everything. The areas that we're not dominating, that the opposition is having favorable control, is the left back area, just outside the box, and then obviously right in front of the opposition box, and obviously inside the opposition box. But everything else we're dominating. Um, the right channel. is actually less. There's more contested areas in the right channel versus the left channel, which is actually surprising to me. Or may not be because I know Gyökeres likes going down the left channel. So for service, he likes running in from the left. That's what he did at Sporting. But I would love to see a couple games of having those relationships built because we constantly have different lineups, right? Like we got Eze, then he wasn't using Eze, then Odegaard got injured, then when Yeri was in there, then
Hmm.
was in there. So not to say that it absolves Arteta from anything, and I think part of it he is starting to change the system, but I think the difficulty that he's going to have with changing system is he doesn't have players constantly fit. It's not an excuse to say that, he can use that excuse for not winning a big major trophy this year. But I think that's my only cause for caution to like overreact. Eze has had 18 shots on target, which is the most out of the team. Gyökeres expected goals at 3.42. Saka 2 assists. William Saliba 443 passes. During Timber 27 tackles, was just first in the team. So there's a lot of positives through this. Um, but from like now, because we know Odegaard's going to be out for quite some time, I want to see that relationship built. And when Odegaard comes back, I do want to see Mikel on those games because like if you look at the run of fixtures that we have coming up, um, and I'm just going to talk about the fixtures when Odegaard's back. So that would be for the Spurs game. So we got Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea, Brentford, Villa, Club Brugge, Wolves at home, right? So like there's a few fixtures in there that I would love to see Arteta go for it and play that lineup that he played at home, right? With Eze and Odegaard. Then I'll judge it. Right now, I think the only concerning thing is that I think Gyökeres needs a break. He looks
Mm, true.
he looks like the system and the expectation of having a forward that's high pressing, I think it's too much for him right now. And I think having Havertz come back, I think will open up for him. And I think you'll see him actually score more goals when Havertz is back. Because if Havertz starts a game and then you bring on Gyökeres when the defenders are exhausted, I think he's gonna feast. So I do think CJ, you bring up a good point. I think the system there has to be huge questions but I can see that Arteta is trying to make changes, but when you don't have the personnel, sometimes it may be a little difficult. And I don't want to give him an excuse because again, the team that he's built, he has to go out and win it. And the way that we're controlling games and just seeing them out is good, but I think there needs to be that dial needs to be turned a little bit, if you know what I mean. Like you kind of need to put that pressure on more because Fulham, it should have been a 0-0 draw. Like straight up, we did. I don't think we didn't deserve to lose, but we didn't deserve the 3 points. I mean, we did it. We got it over the line. That's what champions are made up, if you want to say, but we didn't deserve the 3 points. And last year we didn't get the 3 points.
Mm.
Can
Um,
I can I add something, if you don't
yeah.
mind? Actually, two things. The first thing I want to mention, and Laurent, you're spot on. When you mentioned the system, right? Then you have to start questioning the system. I really wanted to touch on that next and just briefly gloss over that because it's a great point you make, right? I went into like Saturday night after I reflected on the game, and I wanted to do again like a quick immediate podcast to do like a quick match reaction. One of the first things I was thinking of like, okay, this is if it's all of these attacking players, again, playing devil's advocate, right? Being the critical with my critical hat on. Okay, if we're saying a number of players now are poor in attack, what's the common denominator, right? We haven't seen the best of Martinelli for some time. Martinelli looks like he's regressed. When you look at this immediate game, Trossard had a poor game. Yes, he scored from the corner. Trossard didn't play well. Eze obviously didn't play well. Gyökeres didn't play well. We can only say consistently, and Saka had a brilliant game, mind you. I enjoyed Saka's performance in this game. Uh, we can honestly say over the years, I think Saka has been the only player from an attacking perspective in Arteta's Arsenal that has thrived, really, when you really think about it, right? Like I said, the others that I mentioned, Martinelli, Trossard have stayed stagnant. In fact, some would say maybe regressed in Martinelli's case. Um, Obviously, Havertz has done a job, but hasn't been good enough from an attacking perspective or a goals perspective, etc. There's one or two others, right? But when you look at as a whole, Arteta's attacking team and attacking individuals, Saka's pretty much the only one that has actually thrived, and that goes to show the level of Saka, right? He's been a brilliant player, and who knows how he would do maybe in a Pep system or a prime Arsene Wenger system or a Klopp system, because despite Arsenal looking pretty, lackluster in attack at times throughout the years, Saka's been the one standout. Everyone else has, has managed to kind of be a little bit underwhelming, if we're being honest. So again, is it all these players? Because look, Eze, Gyökeres, we went into the summer thinking, okay, we're going to get these guys and they're going to cook because of what they've done in their CVs, right? Eze with Palace and Gyökeres, right, with Sporting and even with Sweden and so on. So now when you get these new players and they come into this system and this team, and you see you feel a bit underwhelmed by how they're performing so far, then you have to start questioning, okay, is this actually maybe the system thing? Is this a manager and how he's using the players in this system? Right? That's just some of the things that I brainstorm and what I wonder. Now to your point, Mehrdad, timing, right? Of course, he hasn't had a fluent team to work with. Odegaard and Eze haven't played much together, for example, right? There's been a lot of chopping and changing, to be fair. Gyökeres, right? Poor guy's being run into the ground. Of course, he's playing 90 every game, so he won't admit it because he's a confident lad himself. But mentally and physically, he's probably pretty fatigued, right? You can tell. And now he's overthinking things. You can see it on the field. To be honest with you, so that's just some of my open brainstorming, but I do understand that, of course, it is going to take a little bit more time, and I do appreciate that Arteta actually is trying to change that system a little bit, because look at how he approached the West Ham game at home right before the international break. We actually started with one holding mid and Rice, and then Eze and Odegaard together as two attacking midfielders. So I can appreciate he is trying to be a little bit more fluent in attack and maybe try and change things a little bit. It probably may just take some time. And let's forget we have other creative free spirit players out at the moment in Madueke as well. So to be fair, we need to see how things look when he's got everybody available. That is a very fair point. But I just couldn't help but think as I'm watching the game and I'm looking how underwhelming Eze was looking and how Gyökeres was looking, and thinking, you know what, damn, maybe this is a system thing and how these players are being put into this system. Because there's absolutely no doubt about it. I think we can all agree on this and everybody can agree on this. Arteta is a brilliant defensive manager, right? We go 1-0
Mm.
up in games. We go 1-0 up in games, and I have no doubt in my mind that we'll see it out. Whereas we go 1-0 up in the Wenger era, right? The late Wenger era and the Emery era, if we go 1-0 up, I'm still shitting bricks. But if we once we went 1-0 up, yeah, no, seriously, because of how poor we were defensively, we were more open than a 5 grade porn star. You know what I mean? Like it was bad. It was
Hey, hey.
legit, man. How many times? And all jokes aside, that's how many times did we sit there in those games in the late Wenger era or Emery era, right? And we were just shitting ourselves because we're like, teams look like they can score at us at any moment. We did not look resilient defensively. One thing Arteta has done now, he's made us the most. We go 1-0 up on the weekend, and I knew we were winning the game 1-0. I didn't. At no point did I think we were going to concede.
Well,
Such as
to that point, like Arteta's built a defense so good that we're on track to breaking Chelsea's record of 14 goals conceded.
yeah, and whether we do it or not, of course, is a different story altogether. But it looks good, right? And it's not just the back four. That's what we have to remember. He's got everybody so well drilled with their defensive duties. It's the midfield. It's the wingers, right? It's everybody is so locked into their duties off the ball and defensively that it is good to see. And that's what I think he's definitely a brilliant defensive minded manager in terms of getting a structure and getting discipline in his team. That's one thing we'll never be able to question.
One thing to think about, we've given up 3 goals, and I would argue it should have been two because one of the 3 goals was that beautiful strike by Sabasai.
Mm.
So like,
And I think it's only one conceded from open play, which was the Holland goal.
so
Sorry, boys.
yeah.
Last thing I wanted to add, sorry, before we move on, because I think it's important to talk about. Laurent, you watched the full game, yeah?
I seen a bit in the second half.
Okay, so you saw the second half.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
most of the
the,
second half and
the
first half. Yeah.
penalty incident, penalty for you guys or no?
Oh, wait, you're talking about where he got the ball?
Saka.
Yeah,
On
yeah, okay, yeah. No, I'd say no. Um, because they did agree that he touched the ball. That was unanimously right. We can all agree to that. That the ball was touched by the defensive player.
Yeah, yeah. I agree the ball was touched, but I disagree that they
Yes.
overturned it. But I'll get into that in a second. I'll let you
Yeah.
continue.
So if we're agreeing that the ball was touched, now, right, it's a question for me, and I think it's usually what is the deciding factor in case like this, and what was used to decide the call was, did he go through the player in a way, right, that right kind of takes. But in this case, I don't think he did, man. It didn't seem like he went through him, right? In challenges that we're used to seeing. Where funny enough, right, on like in live action, he called the penalty, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he pointed to the spot, right? Because it looks like that way when things are going
In
fast,
real
but
time,
then
yeah.
yeah, in real time. Um, but yeah, like he went back, he reviewed it, and I think what was agreed upon, right, was the ball was had, and the player did not go through uh um, the attacking player, right?
Before
In
you
that.
before you
Hmm?
answer, CJ, before you answer, Laurent, was that a clear and obvious error for VAR to get involved with? If this was against Chelsea, or if this was a neutral game and you're watching, was that a clear and obvious error for VAR to get involved? The fact that you're thinking about it tells me it's no.
Hmm.
That is not a clear and obvious error. It's not like we scored on an offside. That is a clear and obvious. That is a blatant obvious error. If in
So
light,
wait, okay, I see what you're saying, and so you're saying that it should never went to VR.
it's not a VAR was brought in
Mm,
clear and obvious errors. Whether this was against Arsenal, whether this was, I don't take the teams aside, team A, team B. Is that a clear and obvious error? No. The referee saw it live and they made the decision. Now, where the clear and obvious error could have come into this situation is if the foul was outside and he pointed for a penalty. That is a clear and obvious error because how are you calling it a penalty when the tackle was outside the box, right? That to me would have been clear and obvious for VAR to get involved. But it's
mm.
clear and obvious error for VAR to get involved to potentially take a goal away, right? Not again, I'm talking about this not from an Arsenal like lens. Yes, I understand it happened to an Arsenal player, but I'm talking about like VAR in football. Like this is not a clear and obvious error. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
I'm inclined to agree with that, to be honest with you, because I don't think that the player gets enough of the ball for us to use that as the reason for it to be overturned. I think clearly he goes through Saka first and then gets some of the ball. Like the first contact, in my opinion, the first contact is on Saka, right? Then obviously Saka goes down. If the contact is not made on Saka in that way, Saka's not going down. He's still running onto the ball. So he has to make that contact with Saka, and then he gets a bit of the ball. Like if it's one of those tackles that's like you wipe out the ball and the man, and it's clear that you got enough of the ball. He for me he got a bit of the ball, which shows that he had to go through the man first to get the ball. VAR really had to nitpick it. And again, to your point, Mehrdad, this is what we're talking about, right? Really, you had to really scrape the bottom of the barrel to see that and overturn it. And they really slowed it down to the fullest capacity to see that okay, he got a bit of the ball. But like, is that again? What are we doing here? Is that what it's here for? Right? And again, we don't want to point it out as like, oh, it's an Arsenal thing. It's only Arsenal this happens to because it happens across the league. Yeah, to be fair, yes. But I mean, like, come on, man. Like, this is the second game in quick succession for us. The Newcastle game similar, where you're overturning something that you know it was given in real time, and it's not enough of an quote unquote error. And for those who don't have the privilege of watching us, with the visuals, I'm using air quotations, right? Error. Like it's not clear and obvious to me at all. Right? He gives it in real time. We watch it in replays. You have to watch it 1,000 times. Whenever you have to watch something that many times and it takes that long in the stadium, it's clearly something is wrong. It's not clear and obvious. And for those who have that that thing about conspiracy theory and it's an Arsenal thing, and you have to understand it, man, because why does this seems to only happen to us? I have to say, like, I haven't seen any other penalty incidents like this in recent times, but now it's us two within the space of a month, two incidents like this that get overturned when you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel to look at it and call, like, let's see how we can overturn this. Like, it's stupid in my opinion,
Chelsea,
right?
like I know Laurent, I always give it to you. Like that Chelsea game against Palace. Like really, you're gonna go find a rule that's never been called to like take a goal away. Like what are we doing here? Is that a clear is that genuinely a clear and obvious error? Is that
Mm.
like if that happened against Chelsea, I promise you would have been like, oh no, no, that's bullshit. That's not what the intent of VAR was. again, I don't want anyone listening to this, whether you're an Arsenal fan, Liverpool, or whoever, whatever team you support. This is not about Arsenal. This is about VAR coming in, and again, it was sold to every single fan, every single owner of the clubs that our intent is to come fix clear and obvious errors. And unfortunately, some of the calls, and we continuously see it year over year, they're not clear and obvious. They're getting involved to um, get their money's worth, right? To say, hey, look, this is why I'm here. You know, when you have those consultants at work that they just come in and say a couple, they say they're 2 cents and all of a sudden they get paid like 300K a year. Like that's what VAR is right now. They just want to make sure that the discussion is about them. Uh,
Mm.
but anyways, let's move on from this nonsense. Lauren, I want your take on this. I know we were chatting about it when we opened the pod. The Ange Bowl. That
Mm.
bowl. Marinakis, you freaking savage. Don't fire me. You can't replace me with Sean Dyche. Um, apparently, he walked down the tunnel and he was sacked right away. Uh,
Mm.
Sean Dyche confirmed he's taking over for
Apparently
it.
he was even sacked before the game ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, outside of Forest and their woes, because we've already talked about it, they fucked up with Nuno, taking Nuno out of it. But Laurent, what a great victory expected. But the real talking point, what's going on with the disciplinary issues?
Yeah, no, that's it's a good question. I mean, some Chelsea fans are pretty happy actually that it was Gusto this time, saying, at least we don't have to, watch him. We can watch him miss a few games, right? But no, all jokes aside, it is quite concerning,
Hmm.
if I'm being completely honest. One for even when you say good performance, I think if I'm being critical, we had a rough start to that game. I don't know if you guys saw that game in full, but
Mhm.
they could have easily opened up the game
They should have.
early on. Yeah, we made some mistakes on the defensive. Again, the same mistakes that cost us the game versus Bayern and versus the other teams that we lost to this season. Okay, so I don't know what Maresca has to do, but I feel like he has to polish that, right? Like that build up from the back. And funny enough, it almost feels like that's what it's causing that what's the word? Sorry?
The rashness in some of the decisions that he.
Yeah. So it's like we're the author of our own woes, our own issues at this point, and now we start to play nervous because of it as the game progresses, right? Where we're not as composed as we should be. Um, and yeah, and we look all over the place, right? So for me on the offensive, I have no issues with Chelsea, especially with the way we were set up, with Pedro being allowed right to come back into the 10, and then we had a striker, which I think is the favorable way for us to play with Pedro. So I have no issues with us going forward. So now, right, the major talking point for Chelsea is the defensive side of things, right? And I know that's one thing we've also elaborated into earlier on, right, with the Colwill injury, right, at the start of the season. But yeah, because it just seems like it's a trend at this point, right? That if we were to see another red next game, right, I don't think we'd be pretty shocked, but very concerning.
CJ, you know how like, and I'm just gonna challenge you a little bit. You know how we always used to like joke like, oh, Arteta's gonna sign another a defender, sign another left back, sign another right back. But isn't it funny how like all the teams around us are struggling on the defensive side and they have zero like ways of controlling it and getting some control on it.
Hmm. Yeah, lack of clear lack of discipline there, and Enzo's got to get a hold of the dressing room.
Like
Because
an aside, like just the control that we have doesn't make you feel like fuck yeah, like this is what he built.
no, it's nice, man. I have to say it's refreshing. It's refreshing because once upon a time we were having those sort of issues, right? Especially on the disciplinary end. So quickly, Laurent. So is the you mentioned the Chelsea fans and the thoughts on Gusto at the moment. Is he below par? Is he not performing? Because I haven't seen much, obviously, this season of your guys' performance from an analysis perspective. But is he underperforming at the moment generally?
You could argue for that. He's had better run of form in the past, right? He hasn't looked the best. I'd say even on both ends of the pitch, but more so, I think defensively he has looked shaky as of recent time, which is why, right? Just for the time being, a bit of banter, right, from the fans, and
Mm.
I don't want to say falling out of favor, right, but like I said, right, red card, he gets to miss one. Right, no one's too overly upset about it.
We didn't talk about this actually from the Liverpool Chelsea game that happened before the international break. Correct me if I'm wrong. Tactically was fascinating because Enzo had him like almost in a midfield role, if you guys recall.
Mm,
Do you notice that too, right, Laurent? Like what?
hmm
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm like, is this actually happening? Like I need someone else to validate this from a Chelsea lens because I was
mm,
looking at it and the setup looked like Gusto was the one playing in midfield for the most part from what I saw of that game.
mm. Yeah, no, um, I think it works. It can work. Again, he does have the speed, right, and the endurance to go up and down. Um, and also, right, his passing. Um, he has a bit of vision about him.
Okay.
So yeah, and he's like you can tell he has like good feet, right? He's able to sort the ball out, so that's why he's used there, right?
Mm.
And yeah, I think it works, right? And then maybe you can even have Reece James, like you see what I'm saying, if need be covering that position, but it works. So and that's why he's used. Um, but I think, like I said, right? He does need to find his form going forward, right? But to me, he's still a good player. So nothing to take away from that.
Sunderland, they're in the title race. 5 points away from the leaders Arsenal. Wolves are getting relegated. There's nothing else to say here. 2-0 victory. And it's crazy. The last time Sunderland um, were in the prime, they were struggling, and now the sheer difference by with some of the signings that they've done, like they have a good squad. And I know we chatted about it a few pods ago and I think CJ, you brought it up. We should expect to win this game, and I had said, this might be one of those banana peel games. Like Wilson is playing unreal. Granit Xhaka, they have Ronaldo, Brian Brobbery,
It's gonna
uh,
be a tough game that one
Nordic
away from home.
Michele, Bertrand Traore. Like not that not that we should lose, but it's going to be a banana peel game just because of the way that they are right now and the way that they're playing. And they're seventh in the league, you know. Um, man, this is this is weird. Burnley, they don't do shit, and then all of a sudden they beat Leeds. Like, I don't get it. I was expecting Leeds to dominate that game. I know Leeds were away from home, but with the way with that victory, Forest, West Ham, and Wolves are in the relegation zone, and all three promoted teams are outside of the relegation zone. And we did not see this last year at all. So, kudos to the relegated teams to the promoted teams this year because um, they're playing unreal. Burnley beat their fellow promoted team 2-0, and hey, we'll see if they can keep it up. We do have to talk about this man because we're facing him next Sunday. Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Mm.
Have him in your fantasy team, CJ?
Yeah, man, I told you guys I'm getting fed up with Gyökeres and João Pedro, so I'm gonna have to swap them out and try and get this guy in. But I don't know if this is the weekend to do it because he's coming up against us, and I'm not trying to manifest him scoring against us, to be
Oh,
honest with you.
I captained Holland and I vice captained Mateta this week in my fantasy football. Hat trick.
Yeah, crazy.
Um, wow. Palace, eighth place. Bournemouth still in third. Um, should we be worried
About this game?
about Mateta?
Yeah, I mean, and more we'll discuss that more on the Thursday pod, of course, in the preview of that game. But yeah, for sure, man, he's in some good form right now, man. Um, maybe Zaha's got to his head a little bit too. You never know. But yeah, he's all jokes aside, he's proving a lot of people wrong, and good for him. Some people bloom later in their careers. I believe he's what, like 28 around there.
29, yeah.
And just now getting capped for France, so he's in a good run of form at the moment, and I'm happy for him. Good for him. Let's just hope that he's quiet on Sunday. But he definitely cause for concern.
Yeah. And Semenyo, man, if these rumors are true about Arsenal going after Semenyo, I'm very happy. I don't know how true it is because 70 mil is steep, and we don't typically do that in January, but he's a bad man.
I think there's a lot of clubs in for him at the moment, to be honest. So I don't know if we're at the front of the queue or not. Like I'm hearing Liverpool, right? That's who they want to replace Salah. So there's a couple big clubs that are looking at him already.
Oh,
I heard Spurs even are too.
oh,
Yeah, man, I think we should have went for that.
You guys,
Yeah,
Chelsea?
I think that would
Yeah,
have been a perfect fit.
yeah, because you guys don't have enough wingers already.
No, I'm saying before we went for the
Mudryk?
whole Garnacho situation, I think that would have been a
Even Gittins.
yeah, you can even argue that, yeah.
Not even not Mudryk, right? The guy that you guys made him change sports completely. The
Oh
Ballon.
yeah, that guy.
Uh,
Mm,
Mudryk?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't kill me. Hey
Um,
man, yo, that guy was supposed to be the next one up, eh? But
the
yeah,
next
no, it
one
is.
taking TRT.
The what?
Next one up to taking TRT.
Yeah, word. Uh,
Um, Brighton beat Newcastle, but hey, our boy Voltamada. So
mm,
I I think we I think we need to respect Newcastle and their number nine scouting because the last couple number nines that they bought, they've been pretty good. Like Callum Wilson did a job, obviously Isak, and now Voltamada.
mm.
I
Yeah,
have
it's
to give them
good.
some respect.
But I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like again, I feel like that system just suits. You see what I'm saying? It allows a player to naturally play, right? If I'm being completely honest, I think like the service, the balls that he's that are being delivered to him. Pause. I think like as a striker, right? That's what you need because again, like if we go back to Gyökeres, right? Like what's his name? Arteta saying, he's doing great, right? He's complimenting his performance. But if we're being honest, right, when a striker does not see the eye for net, right, over the course of games, that gets to you. You see what I'm saying? Um, and again, like I feel like the system is at play here, right? Where you see one, right? Again, a different league, right? This guy came in from a different league. He's not a Premier League player, right? And he's coming in, and it's almost like he's at home, right? Comfortably at home. And to me, I think it's just overall like the way that the wingers, right, are even playing off of him and allowing him, right, to come into his game. Um, and yeah, no, so good for him.
I love that man, Voltamada. He's fucking hilarious. As much as he's a Newcastle player, and I fucking hate Newcastle. I hope he succeeds. Not when he plays us, but I hope he succeeds. Um, Another player that I hope he does not succeed, the robot. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Mm.
Keep scoring. Um, Beat Everton 2-0. The only real question is one, apparently by the end of November, we're gonna find out what's happened with the 115. And CJ, it's a question for you. Is it a two-headed race between us and City, or is it a three-headed race?
Oh yeah, you guys know my thoughts. Or funny enough, we mentioned it last pod when the question was reversed and I asked you guys if we're to be concerned about City. So yeah, for me, definitely it's a three-horse race, man. And one thing I said is that when you have Pep and you have the robot in Holland, you can't rule anything out, right? They've both been there, done that. Um, they know what it takes. Now, I will say, without watching and analyzing their games very closely, cities, it does look like they're very, very heavily reliant on Holland at this moment in time. And if something happens to him, that could change things, right? From an injury perspective.
Mm,
Um, you know. But he's keeping them going at the moment because to me they still and Laurent, you mentioned this the back end of last season when we talked about what the new season coming up and whatnot and what City's going to look like this season. And you said at that time, they're a team in transition, and it's very true, right? You can still tell they are a team in transition. They got a lot of new faces, a lot of new players. When you have big names like Kevin De Bruyne leaving, that's not easy to replace and to adjust to, right? Bernardo Silva's getting past it. Um, he's aging, and Rodri's obviously still trying to get his fitness. So there's things changing over there. Different personnel from what they've been accustomed to, but yeah, right now when you have a fit and firing Holland, let's be honest, he's keeping them involved and he's keeping them in the mix. So let's see how long that can is if that's sustainable. I'm not too sure, but yeah, if I'm answering the question, yeah, it's definitely a three-horse race minimum, right? Because we don't want to disrespect other teams in there. Dare I say a Chelsea? Some might say Chelsea's in a title race, um, and one or two others, right? So, but yeah, from a City perspective, yeah, we're not. I'm not ruling them out at all. To be honest with you.
Cherokee's healthy now. Marmoush is healthy now. Um, so Kovacic is healthy now. So they're firing at all cylinders. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe they can also do a job for us in a couple of weeks against the uh, Liverpool. But they look like they got their swagger back, but their back line still isn't convincing for me.
Shit. I mean, at this point, we don't know who's gonna have to do who a favor in that game, right? Because if Liverpool keeps sliding and we have to worry about City, we may need Liverpool to take points off of City to ruin their momentum.
A
You
draw
know?
would be a perfect result.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Perfect result. Um, Last couple games before we spent a little bit of time talking about the Liverpool game. Spurs are just Spursy, man. Spurs are just Spursy. They lose to Villa. Late goal, Buendia. I actually watched this goal. Um, Again, I've always joked about it. Spurs can have new manager, new stadium that looks like a toilet bowl, new owner up top, but you cannot take the Spursy out of Spurs. They scored in the 5th minute. Then Morgan Rogers, he's been on fire, eh? He's been on fire, and he's making a really big case for going to England with the World Cup. But the couple of the players that are injured right now, like who knows? He's got to keep it up because that number 10 position, there's a lot of good players in that position. Um, but again, this is what we expected out of Aston Villa and Unai Emery. Um, but Spurs, man, they like, especially at home too. You would expect a little bit more out of Spurs at home, but I guess that's asking for too much. Um, Before I go to the Liverpool game, because I know we're going to talk about it for a little bit longer. Brentford, dominated West Ham 2-0. I watched the entire game and it just looked like Brentford were a different class. I It is worrying times for West Ham because I do think they'll get relegated. For me, it's just sad to potentially see such a big club get relegated, a London club. I
Do you
like how
think they'll get relegated? Eh? You're not giving Nuno a chance they could turn that around.
just the way that they're performing, man. They don't have it. They really don't have it. I don't see how they're gonna score. I don't see how they're gonna keep Paqueta happy. I don't see it. I really don't see it.
But here's the thing, and this is what I'm saying. This is why I give them a chance because of the manager who's there now, and let's be honest, they have quality players. Like let's not forget that. Jared Bowen, Lucas Paqueta, Somerville's quality, right? They have some good players.
Listens there. Uh,
Sorry,
Full crew, Callum
Fulcrum.
and
You know what I mean? So that's why I give them a chance still, to be honest. If it was maybe still under Graham Potter, no, but like yeah, you have a Nuno who worked miracles with Forest, and I think he can do something with this West Ham team who does have a bit of quality. It's going to take some time, right? We've talked about it. This is his second or third game in. This was his first home game. It's definitely going to take some time. But the fact that he has most of the season to get it right, then I think that's what gives them a slight chance, in my opinion.
just because you brought up Graham Potter, Laurent, put some respect on that man's name. He's coaching Sweden now. He's the head coach of Sweden.
Oh, I heard
Oh,
about that even before it happened, and I just feel sorry for Sweden.
Yo,
That's
you
all.
hate that guy, man. I don't know why you hate on him so much.
That's all I can say.
It's
Wait, you guys really think that aside from Brighton, his managerial career has been anything to be admired?
better than Arne Slot's.
Bro, that guy, if he was put in the same position as Arne Slot, would not do what Arne Slot did with Liverpool.
I know. I was haha joking. Haha.
Mm. But yeah, no, man. Yeah, I think his turner there will be short,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Well, speaking of Mr. Slot,
Speaking of Mr. Slot,
pressure one, slot zero, or should I say -4. Um, Manchester.
Mehrdad, are you being proven right, Mehrdad? Wow, look at this.
If I speak, I will be in trouble. Um, I I'll say my piece and then you guys can take it away. Slot got it completely wrong in the lineup. Um, I think Ekitike should have started. I think Kirk has, and I know Andy Robertson was coming back off an injury, but I do think that his relationship with Van Dijk would have been perfect for this game. I think he got it right with playing Connor Bradley, even though he didn't really have a great game. But um, he got it completely wrong with that lineup, and you saw it. You saw that they were dominating Kirk as a side. Van Dijk was pulled into certain positions that he was uncomfortable with. It was the wrong lineup. Jeremy Frimpong is not a right back. He came out and said that he's going to play right wing. So you just invested that money to fill in for Trent Alexander-Arnold, and now probably in January you're gonna have to go actually find an out and out right back instead of getting a Semenyo because you have Jeremy Frimpong, Gakpo, you can work around with your forwards. Um, Harvey Elliott was missed in this type of game. He's at Villa, but you're missing that spark. Um, and I know he didn't play Florian Wirtz, but this is one of those games where
No, I
actually
think he did. I swear he did play.
he came on, but I
Mm.
think to start, I think this is one of those games that I would have loved to see Szoboszlai at right back, Andy Robertson as left back, and put Florian Wirtz in there with Ekitike. Because this is the type of game that Wirtz has the legs, whereas that midfielder, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, like they can't keep up. And that back line, they played it. They didn't play Lenny Euro, they played Maguire. So you know that there's no pace.
Mm.
That was the game to actually play Wirtz at home. Um, whether I'm right or wrong, like I think you're seeing the holes that true Liverpool fans that are gonna be concerned about. Van Dijk, it's not that he's off it. I think the reason why he's been having a stinker is because he's had to play so far out of position to help Kirk has, and because on that side it's McAllister, it's not Gravenberch, right? So when Sabasa is playing right back, Gravenberch is in front of him, so he can, cover that. But on the other side, it's McAllister. McAllister isn't a defensive-oriented midfielder. So I think it's putting a lot of pressure on Van Dijk. Konate, again, he didn't have a terrible game, but, you know, yeah, I think Slot got it wrong. And for all you fans, you need to give a huge apology to Harry Maguire. You guys did not want him. He decided that he wants to stay and fight for its spot, and he's done way better than anyone would have expected. For the amount of shit that poor guy took, like you guys haven't won here since Wayne Rooney. How many years ago was that? 10? So United fans, you owe this man a big apology. And I'll just leave it at that. Don't all speak at once. Like you guys, what? You guys are gonna let me dominate this discussion and let my head get huge that Arne Slot is a terrible man manager?
I was gonna say for two guys and myself and Laurent who actually respect and stand by Arne Slot and defend him in some instances. It's one of those where, yeah, you have to kind of say what's going on over there, right? Some of the things that you've been saying have been coming to fruition in terms of how is he gonna, can he be a man manager? How is he gonna manage with new players that, are quote unquote his? Um, all that money spent, all the pressure of a second season, injuries, right? Because there's one or two injury concerns now. I heard Gravenberch now has picked up an injury. Um, so and that was a key position, right? Where we all said, hey, if something happens to someone like him, do they have the adequate cover to replace a Gravenberch? Um, so there's definitely, it's funny. I'm just kind of there laughing because some of the things that we spoke about are some of the things that you, Mehrdad, manifested um, about what can go wrong and how it can go wrong. Some of it is coming to fruition now. But like I said, it's early. It's early days, so I'm gonna enjoy this at the moment. But I'm not ruling anything out with that team and the players that they have and the history that they have. We'd all be fools to do so. So I didn't watch the game actually. I didn't get a chance to watch the game. Obviously had a late night Saturday, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. But I do plan on watching it, to be honest with you, because I need to understand. When I saw that scoreline, I jaw dropped. Like I need to understand how United won this game. So I am going to watch it back. It's going to be a nice hate watch, knowing the score and kind of just knowing by the time the late winner comes around, just seeing all the Liverpool players' faces and the coach's face. I'm sure Slot was pissed. It's gonna be a fun hate watch. And even in the press conference, typically I'm sure he had some spiky comments and things to say after a result like that. So yeah, but I do want to analyze that game and see how they lost. Because one thing I did say before the game started going into the weekend, I said I didn't give Man United a chance. Sorry, because I didn't think what's his name, United's manager, Amram. I didn't think Amram was gonna change the system, and I just thought that United's midfield was gonna get run over by Liverpool's midfield because of that two-man system. So, is that how they lined up in midfield?
Yeah, back
They,
to
Yeah, Fernandez, Casemiro.
so
yeah.
they still played that two-man midfield. Wow. So you see what I'm saying? So that was one area.
A Mount played up top, and he was dropping in as a false nine, supporting them.
Mm,
So
Which I
Kuna,
think works.
yeah, Kuna and Mbeumo,
Yeah,
they would spread wide.
yeah.
that
Yeah.
Mount would drop, and that actually worked. And
Okay, that's what happened.
they, it would. I'm telling you, it was complete domination, and they attacked Kirkez's side. That's how the first goal happened, and that's how ultimately the second goal happened. And they had a couple other breaks that they were attacking Kirkez's side. So
So Benjamin Tesco didn't start.
nope, he did not. He did not. And another reason why I said Slot got it wrong is I understand that. I mean, you'll watch it. Salah is nowhere to be found in this game. I think
Mm,
chance it was Gakpo. It was the Gakpo show. He got a goal, but he could have had three. Could have had
mm,
four. But you don't take Salah off in this type of game, whether he's not performing or performing. You do not take Salah, right? What message are you sending that you've been one of the longest servants of this club? You're, one of the originals left, and you're coming off in arguably one of the biggest games, not Premier League table aside, but this is the game. It's like Arteta taking Saka off in a North London derby. Like even if he's having a stinker, it just takes one moment for him to, write it off. You don't do that.
So who came on for him?
I believe it
Frimpong. No, it wasn't
Frimpong?
Frimpong.
was
But funny enough, right? Message aside, that substitution almost almost paid off heavy dividends.
it did. It
And
did.
Gakpo just missed a sitter.
Oh,
Well,
I heard
most
he
people
he,
consider
he missed a late one, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I heard.
yeah, and that was all Frimpong, right? On that side,
Mm.
creating for him as soon as he came on, right? So there's also that. Um,
It's just an injection of pace, right? Like again, that's one scenario.
no,
You
but even after that, he created on that side, right? And I don't know, like
I would have taken Bradley off for Frimpong. Like I would have made him more attacking and kept Salah and had that overlap so that Frimpong can open it up more for Salah.
mm,
Like if you're at home, if you're away at Old Trafford, I agree with you, but you're at Anfield.
right, right.
Like,
But it's one of those ones, again, fine margins, because like as Laurent's saying, it's one of those ones that if Gakpo scores off of that feed from Frimpong, again, it looks like, a brilliant substitution, a quote unquote masterclass, as they say, right? And people will give him a lot of praise for that substitution. It's like you take off Salah, Frimpong comes on and makes a difference, right? You can see those narratives and those headlines being written. So that's how fine the margins are, really.
but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And they have a tough matchup coming up. Um, we can nicely segue to the Champions League preview. Um, Liverpool, they're facing Ekitike's old team, Frankfurt, in Germany. Um, 4 losses in a row, potentially the fifth one, because Frankfurt are no slouch. They are no slouch. Um,
Home or away?
away.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're no slouch.
Geez, 5 losses in a row? That's crazy.
I
It's
don't see
never
that
happened.
happening.
Even Amarim has not lost 4 in a row.
Mm.
Take that in for a second. As much even Ten Hag hasn't lost 4 in a row.
But I can tell you who has.
Who?
Man, you already know who I'm referring to.
Is it Mr. Potter?
Mr. Pata.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he's not on.
Actually?
Bro,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he has, bro.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
But yeah, a lot of pressure, on Slot and that team. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what he can do. Chelsea, Laurent, dominant 3-0 victory. Aside from the red card, you guys welcome Ajax to Stamford Bridge.
Yeah,
What's
no.
your expectation?
Honestly,
Red
sorry.
card? What's your expectation? Another red card?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. But I would like to see a different setup and formation. To the tune of how Man City has our setup, the 4-1-4-1. Um,
So
and
Caicedo was a sitter?
sorry?
Caicedo was a sitter?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you would have Caicedo there as a sitter, but then Pedro in that 10 and then someone else there with him. Um yes, and then I say this because that formation, when used correctly, is truly like offensive firepower. Um, and again, like I have seen, right, City use it. I've seen another team use it in the past, but because you can literally go from one end, or like you conceded that pressure, and then suddenly now like the outlets are there immediately, and then when you're on the counterattack, right? Suddenly you now have like I think minimum four players on the offensive half. You see what I'm saying? Meaning if there are any gaps defensively on your opponents, right? Or if anyone is still on your side of the pitch, right, that hasn't tracked back, it's
You
you,
have
you can create so many opportunities just from that, right? Because you're not playing with a second defensive mid, right? Per se, the guy is already up the pitch. And if that guy also has the ability to, make a pass, right, like a Palmer, even Enzo Fernandez,
Mhm.
right, and then your wingers getting in behind your attackers, right? But yeah, because I think to me, when I look at City play, it's bro, it's just it's about the attack. And funny enough, it's kind of why I understand Ange's philosophy as well, right? In terms of like wanting to attack, right? And I don't know if you've seen there's a video apparently where he got pissed off at one of his players because he kept passing back. It's like, why are you passing, right? Why are you making the back pass, right? Pass forward. Um, because when it's all said and done, right? Offense is defense, right? Like you see what I'm saying? Like great offense acts as defense as well, right? And now it's just a matter of being structured, mature enough, right? So that if you ever find yourself where you're pressing too much, and the team has the ability, right, to counter, right, that you anticipate that, right? But that's what I would like to see from Chelsea going forward because I know we have that ability, um, and it allows you to score a lot more goals. And if you can kill off the game quickly, true, right, that works in your favor as well. So yeah.
Huh. Okay. I mean, this is the game to do it. You guys are at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. And again, right, you mentioned the Manchester United setup, right, with Mount up top, dropping back, right? Like these are things you want to see in a manager, right? Especially if you notice that things just are not working in your favor. You make the necessary changes, right? You don't just come in with the same tactics, right, or the same setups, right? Because you have to have a toolkit, things that you can utilize for different days, right, different scenarios. And if you don't practice that, or if you don't even like you don't implement that, then you don't really have anything to fall back on, right?
Insane. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So
Mm,
very pragmatic by Imram. And yeah, I mean, I hear you. I would love to see um, Chelsea try something new because if it doesn't work, then I'm going to be laughing at you. If it does work, I'll be having.
mm. Hey man, like I said, man, November is you already know.
Oh man, CJ, before I come to the Arsenal game, Man City travel to Villarreal. Again, the robot. The one question I have for both of you is Erling Haaland the greatest true number nine in our generation? And keyword true number nine.
Um, well, that term, I guess, it can be very vague and ambiguous, right? True number nine. So some would say, well, what does a true number nine mean? I'm going to answer the question by saying
I think poacher.
he could, for me, yeah, I'm going to change it up a little bit and say he's probably the best finisher of this
Mm.
generation, pure finisher. I think, yeah, there's no doubt the rate that he's scoring at, the way he scores his goals and what he's doing. Yeah, there's definitely an argument in terms of out and out goal scorer. He's that guy for sure, man. He's doing crazy things at the moment. If he keeps up at this rate, I don't know. I thought when he first came into the league, he was doing bits, but this now is another level. This is another level. I don't know, Laurent. What do you think?
I mean, yo, Mbappe's up there.
True.
Like, I think he has 10 goals as well. Um, yeah, so they have similar goal scoring rates. So yeah, I wouldn't give that to him just yet. And plus, I mean, even Harry Kane, shit, that guy is like on form. Um,
Yeah.
but as a striker for me, like I said, I prefer my strikers, to also have technical ability, right? To be able to do other things than what he's doing. So again, right? Like if you fast forward 100 years from now, I think that's going to be the talking point for why some people would disagree to rank him as like, the best striker of all time, I think, right? Because his technical ability, right, is lacking.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't expect anything different from this game than a City win. I mean, if they draw or lose, it'd be a huge upset. Um, Spurs get a nice trip to south of France to Monaco. Um, to be honest with you, I think I mean, first of all, it's the best thing for them to play because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they play. They play Wednesday. Never mind. They have a quick game. They don't have to wait till Thursday, Europa League, because they're in the Champions League. But to be honest with you, I think the Champions League is too big of a step for them. Thomas Frank has never uh, managed a team that has to play every 3 days. It looks like Romero is not going to be fit for this game as well, and I wouldn't be shocked if they lose. Monaco's not, playing extremely well in the French league. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to expect. Um, Out of Spurs, and for me personally, I would love to see them lose and keep losing and keep losing and keep on losing. Um, doesn't Monaco have a few of our ex-Arsenal players, or am I tripping out? I know Pogba's there, and
Is
some,
Balogun still there? Balogun?
yeah, Balogun, Mika Birith,
Kabir, yeah.
Ansu Fati's there, Minamino, Koulibaly, not the defender, the other Koulibaly. Um, yeah, they have a pretty decent team. Eric Dyer's there. So who knows? This might be a Might have to look at the odds and potentially bet on Monaco straight win. Last one before we get to Arsenal, Newcastle, Voltamata. They're gonna smack Benfica, and I think it's gonna be a big win. Calling it. The Geordies are gonna beat up on Benfica.
Really?
Damn,
Wait,
damn.
where is it played? At Newcastle?
Yep, St. James's. Oh, you don't
Hmm.
think so, CJ?
I mean, you're saying like this is must be yeah, like a beatdown. Like they're gonna wipe the floor with them. I don't know about all that. They're just coming off a loss themselves, Newcastle. Like they still don't look great, right? In my opinion, for me to go out and say, yeah, they're about to slap a seasoned Champions League team in Benfica. Um, I don't know. Not saying that they won't win, but yeah, you sound pretty confident about that one.
I just think the Portuguese league isn't as physical. Like I don't think it's as physical. Like Benfica's coming off a tough draw against their rival Porto. Um,
And then they won their game after that, no?
did they win their game after that?
Yeah. Plus, yo, isn't the
No,
special
they
one
haven't.
managing that team?
No, they haven't traded.
Ah, yes. Forgot about that factor.
Who's on that team?
The special one.
Jose?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I still don't think. I think it's gonna be too much.
Jose. You can't forget about the Jose factor. That's a big one. I forgot about that one.
Hmm.
Jose,
I
Jose.
mean, they looked all right when they played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Hmm. I don't know. I think it's gonna be. I think they're gonna get the physicality of it is gonna shock them because they're pretty old. They're an old team.
Hmm.
When you're still playing Nicholas Otamendi,
Hmm.
the man is what? How old is he? He's 37. Like, imagine Voltamata and Anthony Gordon running at Nicholas Otamendi. He's gonna shit his pants.
Now I see what you're saying. Um,
But again, you're right. The special one, he'll figure it out. CJ,
Mm.
give us the breakdown. Enough of me talking. Give us a breakdown. Arsenal, Madrid, Atleti. Give me.
Yes, this is a curious one, man. I've been a little nervous about this one because again, we're facing another defensively sound team. Um, the king of low blocks, some would say, the king of the dark arts, Mr. Simeone himself and his team, and these are the kind of teams that are could be our kryptonite, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see how we play against this sort of side. To be honest with you, it's one thing to play against, like, with all due respect to these teams, the West Hams or the Fulhams or those teams in the Premier League, right? The mid to low table teams in the Premier League who play low block. It's one thing to play those guys, but it's another thing to play again another solid seasoned Champions League team, a big club in Europe, right? Who has a manager who's notorious for this kind of setup. It's a whole different kettle of fish. Now, naturally, they say the Champions League generally is more open than the Premier League, right? You have teams going at each other more often, so there's spaces, blah blah blah. But again, we all know how Atletico and Simeone are. I don't see them, um, be opening up that way to allow us to have the spaces we want to operate. You know, Especially away from home, they're going to come to the Emirates, and yeah, I think they're gonna. Not saying they're not gonna go for it, but they're gonna be smart in their approach, right? And they know exactly. Simeone's again, he's a smart man. He would have studied Arsenal and how we play and how we've played, under Arteta, and know that, potentially that there's an opportunity for them to stink out the place and shut us out, so to speak. So I think it's going to be another physical game. It's going to be interesting because we have two managers who, again, they kind of have similar approaches that way, right? They're very cautious first, defensive minded first, pragmatic. Um, and we're not going to shy away from a physical battle too, right? That's what I've said. Arteta's built a very physical, um, mentally strong team in this Arsenal side who's willing to go toe to toe with anyone on the pitch as well, right? You're not going to bully this Arsenal team too. And one way Atletico and Simeone might try and get into the opposition is by they try and bully them and try and get into their heads physically, right? We all notoriously saw what the Atletico players were doing to Jack Grealish a couple of years ago in the Champions League, right? You guys remember playing with his hair and pulling on his hair? Yeah, so yeah, so it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting.
They dropped five against Frankfurt at home.
What's that?
Dropped five against Frankfurt.
Scored five? Did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, what was I was gonna ask? What was their result on the weekend in La Liga? Do we know what their last result was?
I think they won.
Eee.
Yeah, they're in a run of form, man. They haven't lost in the last 5 games, I know.
Yeah, they put five past Real Madrid not too long ago too in La Liga.
Where do they go? Where the hell? Yeah, they beat Osuna 1-0.
Hmm. Can you look at their last few results too in the
Prior
league?
to
I think
that, they had a red card. They drew Celta Vigo away from home. Prior to that was the Madrid Derby. They won
right,
2.
5-2. Yeah,
Prior to that, it was 3-2 against Rayo Vallecano. And then prior to that, it was Mallorca 1-1 draw. They had a red card. And then match day 4 would have been 2-0 against Villarreal. So they're not, I mean, they're fourth in the league, 4 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss, 16 goals for, 10 goals against. They're behind Villarreal, Barcelona, and Madrid on 16 points. So it's not that they're in the best of form, but Julian Alvarez, 6 goals on the year, only trailing Kylian Mbappe on 10. Um, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. And I think the big thing for me is um, we don't do well against pacey forwards like an Alvarez. We do better against physical forwards. And I worry about Alvarez and I worry about our left back because I think that's the side that he typically attacks from. Um, and Calafiori needs to be on his game. For me, that's my biggest worry. Other than that, I think we should win. I think it
Wait,
should.
Griezmann, you guys are not worried about?
I would be cautious about him too. Yeah,
Yeah, no, like worried is a like sure, of course I'm worried about him. He's class, but like if I'm looking at that front line, like they played a 4-4-2, Lorente, Lermorand, I can't even speak. Longley, Ruggeri, Simeone, Barrios, Gallagher, Raspadori, Griezmann, and Alvarez. Um, Out of that, I'd be worried about Gallagher, Alvarez, and Griezmann. Those are the three.
I'm more concerned. I'm not as worried about what they have going forward because again, I trust us so much defensively. But my concern is if we can break them down. That's my concern.
Hmm.
That's going to be my concern for this game, to be honest with you.
And choke the midfield.
Sorry.
You think they're going to choke the midfield and not let us get through?
Yeah, I think they're going to limit our spaces in those areas, to be honest with you. And
Mm. Which I think is a smart move to make
oh yeah, for sure.
on their end. Wait, so you guys are not predicting an open play goal?
Oh, an open play goal for us?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good at set pieces too. Hmm.
No, it's gonna be an interesting game. It's gonna
Like,
be an
which is
interesting
a
game.
good segue, Laurent. Prediction leaderboard. CJ and I, we all got 2 points. So CJ and I are 19 points, Laurent on 14. Um, let's start with the Arsenal Madrid game. Athletic game, sorry. Laurent, what do you have it? Go ahead, say draw.
I'm gonna go draw.
I'm gonna say Arsenal.
I'm gonna go draw.
I'm going to go Arsenal win as well. I was going to say, I actually was thinking draw, but I'm going to say Arsenal win.
Woo! Chelsea, Ajax,
Chelsea.
CJ.
Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't see any other result, unfortunately. Ajax isn't playing well. The other game that I picked, um, Newcastle Benfica, because I thought that
Mm.
in City traveling to Villarreal, that should be an easy win. Spurs, Monaco, meh, boring. Monaco should win that. This one was a feisty one, so
Yeah, I'm gonna say Newcastle, even though I want to say draw though. But I'm gonna go Newcastle.
yeah. I, I think it's just I think the atmosphere is gonna be too much for them.
Yeah, I think Newcastle will win too. But like just, I don't think it's going to be the way you see it going, Mehrdad, but I think they will scrape and get over the line.
I think it's gonna be like 7-0. Oh
So
shit.
we're all bigging up the English clubs then this week. Oh
Yeah,
no, Laurent said Arsenal will draw, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm seeing draw.
So it's either CJ, we build on our lead, or Laurent,
I kind of want to say draw too. I guess I can't change it, can I? For the Arsenal game.
Nah,
Laurent,
man, shit's
you're the
locked in.
yeah, you get the final call. Can you change
Yeah,
it?
bro. Nah.
No. Okay. All right.
All right,
I was
say
gonna
less.
be nice. I was
Say
gonna
less.
say, you know what? You know,
Yeah, at this point, bro, I can't. If I'm to come back, I can't have you, be on the same results as me, man. So,
gonna say you're not gonna allow with those veneers he's got on? No?
Bobby.
Bobby.
Jeez,
You
jeez, jeez.
have to send us the link for the, toothpaste.
I got you, fam.
Jeez. Um, well, thank you as always for listening. If you made it this far, we had a slight issue with episode 50, so it has been reposted. But thank you again as always, episode 51. Um, we'll be out here again. We'll have another pod for you after the European games and previewing the weekend. But yeah, hit that like, subscribe. Um, and going into seasonal depression for everyone who lives in Canada, this is what we got to look forward to on our weekends.
Adios.
Adios.
Wow, why you fuckers taking my adios? Adios.
Wow.